Are you far left, far right, or just far too tired to care anymore? Because honestly, that's what most of us are. These labels, they used to actually mean something. Real political ideologies with actual stakes. And now they're just vibes, insults, Twitter dunks. Say you support free school meals, well, you're far left. Question whether mass migration might need some management, you're far right. Mention that maybe, just maybe, global elites aren't always looking out for you? Cool. Well, now you're a fascist in a tinfoil hat. Welcome to a time when the political compass feels less like a guide and more like a weapon. So, in this episode, I'm not here to play a weird game of pick your side. I'm just here to ask what happens when those sides stop making sense. So, let's get into it. But before I do, please subscribe if you like this. So, here's the thing, those terms far left and far right, they actually used to mean something real. They were grounded in actual political ideologies, and now they're mostly just vibes. So, in this episode, we're going to unpack all of that, what these extremes actually stand for, what they don't, and why so many of us just feel so politically exhausted, caught in a shouting match that we never signed up for. Let's get into it. Today, we're talking about how those phrases, far left and far right, they just get tossed around like confetti, how they've lost meaning, gained baggage, and become shorthand for you said something I don't like, so now you're evil. But underneath the memes and the meltdowns, something real is happening. We're trying to figure out where we sit in a world that no longer seems built for nuance. The political middle has become a tightrope act. It's too cautious to please the extremes, and it's way too messy to unify anyone. And now it's where politics goes to die. And in all that noise, we've forgotten that disagreement isn't the same as danger. So, what even is far right? Is it nationalism, a conservative in a costume, or someone who someone who once asked what the EU was actually for? So traditionally, far right meant hard authoritarianism, ethno-nationalism, militant traditionalism, strict hierarchies. But now it's just become this vague insult that you throw at anyone who says, I'd like low immigration, please, or maybe let's not cancel the guy that died 200 years ago, or even worse. Yeah, but what's the context for that? Suddenly, you're accused of wanting to bring back the Third Reich when really you just miss village fetes and pub barbecues. So let's just get a few things clear. Wanting borders doesn't make you far right. Liking Churchill, it doesn't make you far right. Being concerned over the ECHR, it does not make you far right. Being worried about immigration doesn't make you far right. Being slightly suspicious of large international governing bodies, it doesn't make you far right. It just makes you a citizen with questions. So, what about the other side? What about the far left? Is it old school Marxism? Is it cancel culture and Birkenstocks? Or is it someone who just feels that billionaires and food banks shouldn't exist in the same postcode? So, classic far left politics meant anti capitalism, anti globalization, anti establishment. It was class struggle, the workers rising up, abolishing private property, and seizing the means of production. But lately, it's taken on these weird new dimensions, layering in identity politics and social justice, climate change, political correctness, cultural sensitivity. And no, you can't say that energy. I will say, though, that questioning whether capitalism is working isn't far left. Wanting workers to be paid fairly isn't far left. Wanting to help people who are in need or distress is not far left. It just makes you a human. Look, and it's not that the left have no good ideas. It's just that utopianism has a short fuse. Because once you believe that the world could be perfect, anyone who disagrees with you suddenly becomes an obstacle. And that's when you get censorship, cancellation, re education, just with better fonts. Every time you mention Cuba or North Korea, someone always goes, but that's not real socialism, which is funny. Because when capitalism crashes, no one says, that's not real capitalism, babes, that's just vibes and late stage despair. But at the core of these two movements, it's control, fear, yes, jaunty flags. Because nothing says liberation like enforced ideology and compulsory uniforms. So where does that leave us? We're in the 2020s. It's this weird grey decade that kind of feels like the soggy biscuit of history. It's still technically holding together, but emotionally, it's pretty wet. We've got slow growth, perpetual outrage, housing crisis, economic anxiety. Algorithms are shaping your sense of self far more than your family ever did. And the culture, God, it's like a terrible Disney remake of Rebellion. It's slick, hollow, and it's done mainly for merch and a future protest, but only when the weather is nice, of course. And you might not be far left or far right, you might just be far too tired. Tired of being told that if you don't toe the line, you're evil. Tired of getting called a fascist because you once asked if anyone is happy with where this country is going. Tired of the widening gap between left and right, not because I think centrism is some perfect Goldilocks solution, but because any sense of the middle ground has been flattened. Everything's now engineered for maximum outrage. The media doesn't deal in nuance anymore. It deals in algorithms, clicks, rage. So you end up shouting at the telly or sighing at your phone over yet another headline about the country sliding further downhill, and you think, brilliant, it's Tuesday. And I'm not trying to sound cynical, honestly, but it's exhausting watching how disconnected our politics has become from real life, from people. And politicians, they don't seem in for duty anymore or for the love of country. They're not leaders, they're just personal brands in waiting. It's not about public service, it's about the podcast deal, or the social media platform, or the glossy autobiography that no one asked for. They're not building Britain back, they're just building LinkedIn empires. And it's just because I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing about the North South divide like we're rival kingdoms. I'm tired of being told that England is both the villain of the world and culturally irrelevant. And mostly, I'm tired of being made to feel like asking questions gets you labeled a bigot or a snowflake, depending on who's listening. When really, asking questions is one of the most responsible and patriotic things that you can do for both sides of the aisle. So maybe the real question isn't how far anyone's drifted. Maybe it's just how we can get back and how we can talk to each other without assigning a moral score. So this isn't a lecture. I'm not here to tell you where you should land on the spectrum. I just wanted to ask you, what happens if we stepped off it entirely? What if we just asked better questions instead of demanding perfect answers? And what if we just stopped assuming that every disagreement is a personal threat and started seeing it as a conversation worth having? Because most of us aren't extreme, we're just extremely exhausted and could probably just use a drink and some conversation without judgment at the pub. So let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this, please subscribe and like this video. Thank you so much.